Hi, everybody. Welcome back inside another edition of our virtual chats. Now joined by KIERAN Vincent from the golf team. And KIERAN, I tell you what, Florida has treated this team well the last couple of weekends down in Jacksonville and Ponte Vedra Beach. Give us an idea of the start this team has had over the last couple of weeks.
It's been a blazing start, to say the least. The guys have come up pretty hot, on fire, and definitely given a run for their money. A lot of teams for their money. So it's been good. It's been interesting. It's been fun. It's been exciting, actually. We put our names in the mix, both two tournaments we played. So, it's just been a great time.
Easy question to ask here, and maybe to answer the obvious. Did you sense the start this team was going to have? Were there a couple of rounds, maybe in Charleston before that, where you were like, you know what, man, let's get this regular season going here? Were there a couple
Oh,
of rounds where you guys knew that this could be the start of a good season?
oh, for sure. I mean, it didn't even start just this year. It started like last semester when we had time off, we had months off, and you just saw people were up here grinding, all late hours, and so you could kind of see that there was a lot of work ethic, and so people were just wanting to have this season, and so it was only a matter of time before people burst onto the scene, and it was just great that it all started off in the first tournament. So it's been good.
Let's talk about that first tournament in Jacksonville, back and forth battle between you guys and Florida ended in a playoff.
Hmm.
And lo and behold, you've had a 8 under par, tied for fourth. So take me into your rounds there in Jacksonville and what you felt good about.
I mean, I just kind of felt comfortable. It was good to kind of get out the cold weather and go down to Florida and enjoy some warmer weather. So that was all exciting. But for most of the first day I played, went out there and played very well. And a bunch of the guys did as well. Alex Fuchs I think he was sitting in like tie second or maybe even first after the first day. So that was just exciting news for him because I mean he's been playing some unbelievable golf as of late. So that was good to see him. But for the rest of the guys, they were there and thereabouts, and so we kind of knew where we were sitting as a team. And I'm not really one to look at scoreboards a whole lot, even though there's not many out there. But I didn't really know how we were doing, even throughout the whole round. And so when I played, and I just kind of played to, the best of my ability, not really knowing the whole circumstances. And so when we got done, like I sunk my last putt kind of thing, and I looked up at the guy, walked over to the guys, and I looked up and I was like, "How are we doing?" And they looked at me and they were like, "Well, I think we won up at this stage with one to go and all that." And I mean, I was freaking out kind of thing at that stage. I was like, thank goodness I didn't know that on the green because I might have three putted or something like that. So,
Right. When you
yeah.
when you hear that, Kieran, how does a golfer um, how do you not freak out and get so nervous? Does the training come into hand knowing, hey, I've putted so many times, I've chipped, I've long driven. Does just the training just take over, or is there time to maybe is that anxiety sometimes a good thing?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think your long hours of practice, definitely come into play. I mean, that's why you practice. You practice for those moments, and so you seize opportunities when you get them. And I think that's what we just did this semester. But to say we weren't nervous is an understatement. I mean, I think all of us were nervous wrecks out there. But to turn that nervous energy into positivity was what our goal was, and so that's I think what kind of makes a good player, a good team kind of thing, is when they can turn those nerves and use them to their advantage in some case, some form of another. So yeah, I think that's just what we did as a team, and that's what worked well for us. So to say we weren't nervous, whew, we were nervous out there.
Jeff Thomas is chill of a golf coach I've been around, and the moment not too high, the moment not too low. Do you guys learn things from him when it comes to you know mental side of golf and how to just um, keep cool in those pressure pack moments?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think we've learned not only from Coach Thomas, but the rest of the guys we have, yeah, Coach Alcorn, he's been very instrumental in our, in our mental aspect. But, as they've talked about in the past, that game of golf is played in between your ears kind of thing, because it's all mental. That's one of those games which I feel like momentum or mental states are, you need those kind of things when you're playing out there. And so, both coaches have been so good to us. They've really been hitting home about, your mental state, about envisioning shots, or, really staying positive while we're out there kind of thing, and just letting, a bad shot go, because we know we're all going to hit bad shots. And it's just about really, moving on from those bad shots and really striving to see if we can do the next one better.
And then you move on and you share second place in the Seabest Invitational. You again had a tremendous couple of days with a 4 under par, tied for sixth. And then you mentioned the other guys behind you, including Irving and Jonathan, all those guys, just taking it from that next weekend to the next weekend. What are some of those keys, and how did you see this team move on from what you did in that first weekend?
We're talking all about momentum.
Yeah.
I think that was just a big aspect of what we did. The whole practice and all that we had in the fall, gearing up into the semester. So I wasn't surprised to see us, gradually increasing and getting better as the season goes on. And so carrying that momentum on from the first tournament, it was nice that we're able to stay down there, enjoy some warmer weather, although the tournament itself wasn't very warm because of the cold front that we had. But it was good to be down in some familiar places that we've been to already. TBC Sawgrass is one of those that we've played a bunch of times, so we kind of knew the course, and I think that played to our advantage because we've seen it when it's at its best, so that we know where to miss it, or how to play it at its worst, and that was very, very key for us. And so, as you mentioned, Irvin Chang has won the tournament in the past, and he had a great, we could lean on him, this tournament, and we could lean on a bunch of others this tournament. And so it was good. We just kind of fed off each other and just use our momentum from the last tournament and just strive to get better.
Couple more thoughts here, KIERAN. Back on the course down in Gainesville, Florida, coming up on February 12th through the 14th. When it comes to you and your game, do you have a favorite shot you like working on top of any other one?
I'd like to say hitting it far. I think that's always fun out there, enjoying
Right.
going up the golf range and just hitting balls as hard as you can. But I think the putter rolling would be great. Getting out there and getting that putter going would be instrumental, because we all know everyone can kind of hit it far. Everyone can kind of hit a lot of greens, but it really comes down to what you can do on those greens, which really separates the field.
And you mentioned, 1 or 2 putting versus 3 or 4 can make the difference in placement where you do finish each weekend. KIERAN, final thought here. I think most that watch this video or listen to the audio of this podcast have probably picked up a putter, swung a golf club in some form or fashion, some better than others, most better than me. But what is it about those that are really good at golf about your clubs? Are there some nuances, some superstition stuff like the grip or how long the clubs are that for you that you need in that bag? And I'm not talking, hey, I need a putter or a pitching wedge, but the clubs themselves. What are some things that maybe the fans be like, I didn't realize that good golfers thought about that when it comes to their clubs themselves?
I mean, clubs are such interesting things. People play a lot around with their clubs because they're just such important parts of the game kind of thing. So, with new technology coming out all the time, people are advancing their technology to kind of adapt to them. I think in the past, people adapted to the clubs, but I feel like the clubs are now adapting to the people. And so that's kind of the new trend that I think a lot of teams or a lot of people are going towards, that these newer clubs are kind of adapting to them. And so trying to think of anything that's really interesting. I think the big thing is just finding something that works with you.
Yeah.
People will look at me a little differently when they see my putting or something like that, because I have what's called an arm lock, where the club comes up against the your arm over here, and not many people are seen doing that, or some people play along with longer clubs. I think there's Bryson DeChambeau on the tour who has all his clubs the same length. So it's all kind of just a neat thing that kind of works for you. So
So how do you pass the time getting ready for next weekend with workouts and class and getting all that stuff? You in a pretty good regimen right now in this spring semester?
For sure. I think being on top of everything is key, making sure that you're on top of your classes, on top of practice. But, once you're on top of all those things, I think it's just preparing for the future, preparing for Gainesville. Obviously, it's another course that we know about. So that's always fun to go down to and enjoy some old places, go eat some good food down there. So prepare for all that. But most of all, just kind of, really play your part. Golf's an individual sport, but at the same time, you play as a team. And so, knowing that if you don't put in the time, if you don't put in extra work or something like that, you're not just letting yourself down, but the team. So, the guys are here to compete as a team, but also compete as each other. And so there's a lot of, backwards and forwards of like, hey, I want to beat you kind of thing. It's like friendly rivalry. And so, you want to make sure that you're not on that bottom of the list of that friendly rivalry. So.
Well, Kieran, you've always been a big friend of ours here with the Sports Network. Appreciate your time. Have a good rest of the weekend where it's off,
Appreciate
obviously.
that.
So I know you guys get ready for Gainesville coming up on the 12th. And congratulations on the great start so far.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.